Hello, welcome to San Diego Comic-Con 2016. My name is Fabio, they call me Colonel Crackers, and I'm here with the one and only Stefan Folkins of NECA Dio's fame. And he's here to tell us about all of the amazing dioramas that he has made for NECA's photo shoots, for their packaging photography, and of course for the shows. So Stefan, please take it away from me.
All right, well, let's start off with the Turtles dio, which we have front and center here at Comic-Con 2016. We started off with saying, listen, we're going to have a Turtles set, and it's going to be 8-bit. And I said, ooh, 8-bit, okay. And we're going to have a ton of them. So I said, well, let's try to make a 2D thing into a 3D thing. How do you do that? Cell shade, you know, that's the only thing to do it. So I started off with foam boards, with a wood. It's usually a wood base. We have to ship from New Jersey to here, so it's a long distance. They have to be sturdy. So we decided to do foam fronts, carve in each brick, and then cell shade everything, which takes forever. We really wanted to match with the figures so they felt like they were in the same environment. As opposed to just a more realistic environment. Then they'd pop, but it would look like out of this world. Right. So, yeah, we kept it kind of cell shaded. We got the cell shading kind of 3D signs going on as well that happened in the game a lot. Mm-hmm. And we just wanted to bring back that nostalgia factor that people played the arcade game back in the day. What would that look like in a 3D dimensional world? Right. So, yeah.
Cool, let's move on.
Yeah.
Okay, and now we are at the Alien 3 diorama. Stefan, please tell us about this one.
Alien 3, my least favorite movie in the franchise. But
what? Less than Resurrection?
Less than Resurrection. I know if that's controversial. I'm sorry.
Crazy.
I do like Resurrection better, only because it's a little more entertaining, I should say. There's some goofy things, you know, the basketball which Sigourney got in, and you know, some crazy things. But for me, with A3, the rotoscoping at the end of the creature, the dog alien itself, is so bad that it takes you completely out of it. Yeah. And at least it's a little better in Resurrection. But anyway, snooze fest. But we still make cool figures from the movie. Definitely. Same with AVP. Don't like the film, but we make the coolest figures from it. So we did a diorama from Alien 3 to showcase the Commando, the Weyland-Yutani Commandos, on the upper level, as they're looking down upon the molten manufacturing, etc., seeing Ripley fall from her descent. And we did a bottom section here with the corridor, and you can see a molten-covered dog alien back there.
And that was not here on Thursday, so that's a little sneak peek, isn't it?
We've decided to throw some things in the booth this year each day to keep people interested, keep people coming back, keep people asking questions online, and hopefully keep the buzz going. So, yeah, Alien 3, it's pretty standard. I mean, it's a very dark, creepy film, so I really wanted to get that claustrophobic, bizarre, gross factor. You can see the high gloss on the walls of the dripping down of, let's say, oil, the chains hanging down, the fence, which is a fence you can buy at Home Depot, roll it out, cut it up, put some styrene tubing across, and bricks, of course, all done with styrofoam and carving, and
you know, traditional styrofoam. A lot of people use the installation foam from Home Depot.
Home Depot. I like the pink. Some people use the green.
Okay.
And we also use a special type of styrofoam that we, or foam board, excuse me, that we order in, like for the turtle set and stuff. Because if you put too much pressure on the insulation foam, you'll start to get fingerprint dents and all that business. So we use a little harder foam for some of the bricks.
Excellent.
Yeah, so Alien 3, you get your chains dangling down. Basically, I have to make these in a fairly quick amount of time, so anything that I can find prefabricated that I don't have to fabricate myself is a blessing, honestly, because these have to be done so quick for photo shoots and stuff like that.
How long did this one take you?
I think this one was about 2 weeks.
Okay, yeah, that's a pretty good amount of time.
Yeah, 2 weeks.
And there's electronics in it, I'm noticing.
Yeah, there are lights. They are dying now.
Yeah.
We're at almost the end of the day, so they're dying out now. But yeah, we've got LEDs almost through every diorama. We try to put some sort of lights where they make sense. In such a dark one like this, we wanted to really put some. So a little bit of cross lighting on each side up here that's out now, and some lights at the back to just fill it out a little bit. Most LEDs aren't strong enough to really show up in these cases with the fluorescence anyway, but
that's more for the photo shoots then?
Yeah, for photo shoots. Even those need to be lit with much bigger lighting to see the details and stuff. So, yeah, that's Alien 3.
That is Alien 3. Let's move on.
All right.
All right, we're here in the Predator section now. My favorite, personally. Love the Predator line. Deep, so many characters, so many different decos that make them really like different from each other, and they're uniform in certain ways, but so different in others. So I like that variety in the line.
If it bleeds, we can kill it.
And so here we've got the next series of the Kenner Predators, which are based on the old 90s toy line. Stefan, how did you make all the trees and all of this?
So for Kenner, we really wanted to do something kind of otherworldly. They're so multicolored, they're so multifaceted from the original Kenner designs that we have implemented that in our toys. So we've taken the original designs, vamped them up. What would they look like if they were in a film is basically what we say. And I was taking that same idea with the environment. If these Kenner Predators existed in an environment, what would that look like? You could do a spaceship, or you could do a planet. And I said, well, let's go with a planet type of forest. I had extra forest around, I could use it. So we went with this type of diorama, which is a planet forest in a distant galaxy of the Kenner world. Originally, the background was purple, like the Kenner packaging itself, behind the Predator, and then it went through 3. This is the 4th version of the phase we've done, because we've done so many of them. Each time for the con, I try to go through the dios, vamp them up, change them a little bit, so you're not actually seeing the same set each time. The leaves were completely gold before. The trees were much darker brown. This was metallic blue down here, so now we took it down a notch to really pop these figures. We did the blue background with a little bit of sunset back there. We did some green metallic leaves, and we added in some of the lighter green moss. So, you know, with dioramas, you want to create a beautiful set, but you also want to pop the figures.
Right, of course. A lot of people, you know, will have a really nice diorama, but then that's kind of the crutch of their picture, is that it's an okay, you know, pose-wise, or, you know, what figure you use, but they're kind of using the diorama to really accent the figure, whereas here is kind of the other way around, is that the figures almost accent the diorama.
That's right. They have to work in tandem together, and each set you create or design has to be appropriate for that figure. So when we know a figure is coming, or we know a specific photo shoot needs to be done, we think of the best option for that figure. Terminator Tech Noir, Terminator T2, Cyberdyne. Oh, where was he? Cyberdyne. Let's make a dio with Cyberdyne. You know, it has to all make sense. So they go from the design phase, and we talk about the design a little bit, and then we say, listen, let's do it 2 foot, let's do it 1 foot. How many figures are we going to show? You know, that depends. So we'll do a 2 foot, like the AVP stairs here too. There are so many AVPs we're doing now. Again, a film I hate, but amazing figures.
Guilty pleasure of mine, because I grew up with it.
Right, I was 12 when I saw it in 03, so I was like, whoa, but seeing it again, it's like, dear Lord. Yeah, so the AVP dial, we knew there were going to be so many figures, and they're big, so we said, let's do a cool, you know, 16-inch deep staircase. Let's throw in some destroyed alien parts. We had some test shots around. I painted them up. I added down the alien blood, high glossed it, so they could look really badass, ripping them apart. I would love if we could get to, like, we've started doing creature packs now, so I'd love if we could get to battle damaged packs as well, like where we have like destroyed pieces, bloody pieces. But it's also easy to customize. Go buy an alien, again from Toys R Us, a second, a third one, break them all apart, add some high gloss blood, and you're good to go. But yeah, the AVP staircase, we also have, that was showed at Toy Fair, a huge AVP inner chamber that we did, that I did, to showcase the new series, and also to tease the next dio piece. A couple years ago, we had the Predator wall.
Right.
It came out. Then we did the Freddy furnace. So we try to release as much dio pieces as we can. They're just so expensive to produce.
Of course.
They really are. Everybody's like, please do the dios, do the dios, do the dios. Do you sell this? Do you sell this? Are you gonna sell this? And we have to say, I'm sorry, no, we just can't. And you can't afford it. You know, it's like, it would be insane to produce. So we're always looking into options, cost effectively, how to produce it, the size wise, what can we get away with. And we just happened to land this year with the AVP pillars. We showed these at Toy Fair, and it got so much buzz and love. They were like, "Can you release the pillars?" And we looked into it, and we did I created a production sample. We sent it off to China, and these will be out. The solicitations happened this morning for those, so it was officially announced that we will be releasing those pillars. And they're huge, as you can see. You can put face huggers on the top. You can put aliens on the wall climbing it. So it's a lot of fun, and it's going to really fill out your AVP sets, your dioramas that you guys do at home. So yeah, that's really cool. So we try each, as much as we can to put something out there for the fans, because we know as much as we love doing dios, fans love doing dios too.
No, that really inspires a lot of people. Like, they see your dio and they want to make their own, maybe in their own way.
Of course.
Just the advent of display art is just so crazy in the past couple of years that everybody is getting into the hobby. Everybody wants to become a fully well-rounded display artist by being able to make their own dioramas and props, as well as being able to post figures. So the stuff that you guys do for the shows and for the photo shoots is like nothing but inspiring. I hope you guys know that.
Thank you. Yeah, I was inspired to do it 5 years ago, and this is the 5th year I've been with NECA now, and we always want to give back to the fans that keep us inspired too. We see these cool photos, we're like, wow, that's free, that's awesome. Let's do that, or let's share that on social media with Instagram and Twitter and everything. People are taking photos more than ever with filters. This new app Prisma. I mean, everybody's doing it, and it's only getting bigger from here on. And the amount of love we've had for these sets, especially the turtle dio, has been crazy. It just gets bigger and bigger every year. People want these sets. They want to display their figures.
And I want to see some more of them right now, so let's move on. And now we're at the horror corner. Try saying that 5 times fast.
Horror corner. I like it.
We're here at the Freddy dio, and we're going to move on to the Jason one. But Stefan, please tell us about this. We've got 2 incarnations of Freddy here.
Nightmare on Elm Street 3, one of my favorites. I love the original trilogy itself.
Arguably one of the best, people say.
1, 2, and 3. Yeah, we've got Ultimate Freddy coming out, and Ultimate Part 3 Freddy, and a regular Part 7, New Nightmare Freddy, coming with 2 heads, and Ultimate Part 3 will have an interchangeable chest, just like the T1000 from T2. He will be able to switch it out. You can put his chest of souls in. You can put his regular shirt on, and he comes with like 3 heads, the little house diorama for people's sets, and fully articulated legs.
And tell us about this set right here. Is this based on any specific scene in any of the movies?
Yeah, in Part 3, Nightmare on Elm Street, there is a scene where they enter a room, a nursery, a children's room, and they scream for Freddy. Freddy! Freddy! And a door appears floating, a big, giant metal door. And we see it floating here in the diorama. And that leads down to his chamber in hell, I suppose. Down to his deep, dark, creepy furnace room.
Which there is a dio piece available of.
There is, yeah. You can buy that dio piece. Buy that dio piece now.
Tell us about the construction of this. What materials did you use? All that stuff.
This is a fairly simple one, actually. This is all wood. I use wood mainly for the bases because they have to be strong. We have to ship them. We have to carry them around. They have to survive. It can't just be made out of foam core. It can't just be made out of paper. You know what I mean? It has to survive the trip, shipping, reuse. We do New York Toy Fair. We do New York Comic-Con. We do San Diego Comic-Con. It's got to go everywhere. And sometimes even to China if it's a piece we want to recreate or whatever. So they have to be strong and sturdy. Nothing sturdier than wood bracketed together. And actually the paint facade was done using, I had I think like 4 days to do this for the photo shoots in time a couple years ago now. And I used a cut up birthday bag that was close enough that I didn't have to hand paint the whole thing, thankfully. So honestly, with dios, it's really whatever you can find to get the job done and effectively and quickly works out beautifully. Great. So yeah.
And then moving on to the Friday the 13th dio, this is obviously the front of a cabin, right?
Yeah, in Part 3, at the very end of Friday the 13th Part 3D, Jason sees the girl in the boat on the lake, and she wakes up. And she sees him, and he's banging against the glass. And it was one of those moments when I saw it that I became a Friday the 13th fan.
Nice.
And when we knew that we were gonna do Part 3 Jason And now an ultimate Part 3 Jason with 2 heads, like 6 weapons. I said, let's take that moment for when he bursts through the cottage door at the end, because it was one of the scariest moments that I saw in that movie and sealed my fandom of Friday the 13th completely. So I said, let's do that. Let's do that, where he bursts through the door at the end of Friday the 13th Part 3 and sees her. So
Now I'm seeing maybe some balsa wood here.
yeah, we've got balsa wood lining the wall there.
Okay.
Sometimes if you can use the material it's actually made out of, aka wood, use it, because you'll spend double the amount of time turning a styrofoam piece into wood versus just going to get balsa, cutting balsa up. You know, if it's rocks, use styrofoam. You know, use a hot knife, use a scraper, you know, etc. But if it's wood, oftentimes just use wood. Go buy balsa, go buy basswood, go buy something you can find, plywood if it's a wood wall. So yeah, and then we've got some styrofoam rocks, each carved, cut, dry brushed. The stairs are balsa and basswood. Basswood you want to use if it's a little sturdier.
Right.
Balsa will often just, snap under pressure. Honestly,
Yeah.
you know, if something hits those stairs, if they weren't supported, they would just shatter.
Of course.
So yeah, and you can go to Michael's and get greenery layouts where you can roll them out and glue it down. It looks like a grassy thing. We used it on the Evil Dead cabin. We used it in the jungles. It's a real quick way to get a nice grassy, mound.
Nice.
So, yeah, that's Friday the 13th.
I like it. Let's move on. Okay, now we are at the Kaiju Pacific Rim section. We've got a beautiful cityscape destroyed diorama here. Stefan's going to tell us all about it. Take it away.
All right. Well, our Pacific Rim line is coming to a close after like 2.5, 3 years. It's gone so strong after the film. But we keep the Godzilla line going. We're going to have the new Shin Gojira sculpted from Godzilla Resurgence for this year. And we have 2001 Godzilla out right now. Cityscapes. It's interesting. When we talked about the Pacific Rim and Godzilla lines, I said, well, how do you make a diorama for something that's hundreds of feet tall? In Godzilla 2014 case, something 370 feet tall or something like that. Yeah. And I said, how do I do that? And how do I do that in a week is basically the question I have to ask myself, you know? And the easiest thing would do was styrofoam cubes for the buildings and printed out facades. So I was able to find a modeling creation software, I forget the name of it now, model creation software where you can print out to scale windows, boards, barns, anything you want architecturally, you can print it out. And you can set the scale specifically to how big you want your figure to be, 110, 112, and it goes up to like 1/250th. Wow. So we did this scale. I forget which it was, but you can take this and make absolutely minute windows, very, very tiny, and then you can just have the regular 1/6, that sort of thing. So that was a godsend because without that, I don't know how it would have been done.
Yeah, sculpting windows into foam is not fun.
At this scale, it would have been nigh impossible. I mean, adding the plexiglass in, it would have been absolutely a nightmare. And then I said, yeah, let's add some battle damage. They have fights. Let's make it cool. So I broke it away, sculpted in, and then you do some dry brushing, some black shading to be blasted through. At this scale, a lot of the details you wouldn't even see. So we were like, you know what? It looks great. Let's just keep again, like I was saying, let's keep the figures popped. Let's not take away from the figures. Sometimes so much detail can be put in that your figure gets lost.
Right, exactly.
You know, if they don't survive in your environment, we have to sell these things at the end of the day. It'd be a little different if, I was going to go home and make these for myself, but it has to be still presentable. It has to be understandable to the salespeople, the wholesalers, the people that see our product. Oh, this is for sale, this isn't. You know, we try to find that balance. But
yeah, you don't want people seeing the display and be like, oh, the figures are cool, but this Dio, oh my God.
Which sometimes happens,
course,
like the turtle Dio, like AVP pillars. That happens, and hopefully it's doable.
Yeah.
But we just have to point people in the right direction. That please buy the figure. and enjoy what you're seeing. So yeah.
Awesome.
Great.
So now let's move on to the thing I am most excited about. This is the bread and butter right here, guys. Let's go. At long last, we're here. This is the most awaited piece of the entire show. I've been waiting to see this. Like I said, I love Predator and I love Aliens, but the Kenner Aliens hold a special place in my heart, and this diorama just evokes so many emotions. Stefan, please tell us how you made all this. I see some materials that I recognize, but others that I don't. Please, tell us.
Yeah, Kenner Aliens are a huge nostalgia for people, and ever since we unveiled this for Facehugger Friday, people have been non-stop, just people coming back clamoring to the booth to see it. Nostalgia is an amazing thing. For years, those were people's only Alien figures, were the Kenner ones.
Right.
Not until McFarlane and now us were other Alien figures created. So. We've even gotten tweets after seeing the Kenner Aliens displayed here, people digging out their collections again from storage, people pulling them out to compare, to see it again, to live through what they went through back then with their toys. So, I mean, that's what it's all about, making people happy, and if we can make that happen, so be it. With this dio, we knew we were going to have like 10 items to display. We knew we wanted to go big with this. It wasn't just like, oh, let's do some Kenner Aliens. Let's do the Kenner Aliens and let's do them right. Let's do an homage. These things are beloved. Let's make it happen. And what better way than recreate the back art of the Kenner packaging in the purple command center. So I said, all right, well, if we're going to do this, Kenner figures were about this big, right? 3 3/4, 4 inches. Ours are 7, 8, 9, so it's gonna be a little bit of a, it's gonna be a big one, So it's in 2 levels. It separates, and there's a lot of plastic used. All the grates are fish tank aquarium grates, under gravel grates. You can buy at Petco, Walmart. Again, something quick that I can do. Otherwise, I would have to create each strand using styrene, using plastics. That would take forever. And again, this was done in 2 weeks. And so it's kind of a touch and go process when it comes to finding materials, doing it as quickly as possible, adding in lights, LEDs. There's around 10 lights in here. They're starting to fade now. The battery's running out, but yeah, we have Kenner Alien eggs that I painted up. Those aren't for sale, but they were for the dio just to give it a little spice. Yeah. There was so much purple in the original diorama that I said, well, how do we just break it up a little bit? I know they're colorful and stuff, but it needs to be broken up a little bit. So after the base coat, you go in there, you add some magentas, some deeper purples, some silvers. You really want to pop it. Some tendrils that we can high gloss and really pop it. Some chrome boxes fabricated to help pop some elements. You never want to lose. You never want to have too much of one color in a dio, too much of a red brick wall. If you have a red brick wall, throw some graffiti on there. Do a couple brown bricks. Do a couple lighter bricks. Right. Do some weathering. Do some broken bricks, So same thing with this diorama. You want to add in as much detail as you can. And this does have more detail in it than the original Kenner one did. But you want to keep the homage right. We're taking the figures and we're taking them up to a next level. Like, what would they look like in a film? And we do the same thing with the dios, just to make sure that world is all-encompassing and that it matches, And we're starting off Series 1 with the Mantis, the Gorilla Alien, and the Queen Alien Facehugger, which will come with a in-scale smaller version as well, so that people get their value worth for $18.99 or $19.99, whatever it is.
Yeah, none of this was here on Thursday, the first day, so this is a great walkthrough you're giving us here.
Wednesday and Thursday, we didn't have it, and then we revealed it for Facehugger Friday. To give, and then people went nuts. Instagram, people freaking out. The Kenner hashtag, NECA hashtag, and they're absolutely loving it. So the response has been great, and we'll just keep going from here. The first series also comes with their respective comic book version, the comic books that came with the figure originally. Awesome. So we said, all right, well, let's do the comic book sets first and get them to the fans. So, and like I said, people are bringing out their old collections and comparing and taking photos and matching it up. So it's great to see people so happy and see them in an environment. We have Ripley and just one of our regular power loaders back there. That's not a Kenner one. And we have the next series of aliens up there, just because we have nowhere else to put them. You know,
No, that's great.
after you know, a 2 foot by 2 foot dio. Yeah.
Man, is that how big this is?
It is 2 feet by 2 feet. Yeah. That is the tallest diorama we've done. We've done some 4 foot long ones, but they're never usually taller than 18 inches. So
You had to size it perfectly for this case too. Basically.
that's right. Yeah, it had to fit. You know, it had to fit with this. You know, that's another thing. With creating these dioramas, they've got to be 15 inches deep. Any deeper, and you're hanging out of the case. We can't close the glass, and you can't fit it in a box. So, would I love to do, you know, this deep version, double the height? Yeah, I'd love to do it, but it's just, you know, you got to draw the line somewhere with the shows and stuff and time, you know. But yeah, and the stairs, they were created actually from a fluorescent, you know, fluorescent light shield.
Right.
We had an extra one. I popped it out, cut some stairs out, and they have that translucent quality. So when we get back to the studio, we're gonna light it like the original Kenner backing, the yellow light pouring through,
Yes.
the fog kind of going on. So it'll be, for the packaging, it'll be exactly recreated. Recreate exactly. You're seeing a lot of yellow right now, but it's only because we have the fluorescence on. Once we pour the yellow light, add the fog in there, it's gonna be. People are going to have nostalgia all over again.
Well, let me be the first to say that this is like a crowning jewel diorama. I'm so happy to see this in person. This is great.
Thank you.
And I don't know if you know this, but there was the original Kenner line was based on this animated show called Operation Aliens that
really?
never made it to air. And
Okay.
that's why the Kenner line had to be remade as like an Aliens line.
Right.
As a movie line, because originally it was supposed to be accompanying the animated
Right.
series, and unfortunately that never happened. But now that we have, you know, your sets and the packaging photography, it's almost like it lives on. Like
It
the
lives
animated
on.
series lives on
That's right.
through the art that, you know, people who buy the figures make, and then of course you who do the packaging photography and the dioramas. Just amazing stuff, man. And of course the alien eggs, and you know, you added all the tendrils and all that stuff to
Yeah.
it.
We would love to do a tendril version someday, but these fit in the packaging so nicely without the tendrils right now that, you know, you can always make your own tendrils.
And that's what it's
easy to
about.
do.
You got to be inspired, man. If you
That's
see what
right.
you like, try it out for yourself, man. You know,
That's right.
It's
That's
about
right.
spurring creativity and wanting to do it yourself. So
Yeah.
that's something that you definitely do. So thank you so much for talking to us, Stefan.
Thank you.
Really
It's
appreciate the
been a pleasure.
time.
Thank
And you can
so
follow
much.
Stefan at NECA Dios on Instagram, as well as Stefan F
Stefan F. STEFNF on Twitter.
on Twitter. All right, follow this man. He doesn't have
Thank
enough
you.
followers for the work that he does. He deserves so many more. Please give him a follow. Thank you
Thanks
so much.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you, man.
That's crispy.